shit. Here we go again.
Low, low, man. Low, low, man.
You like contracts, right? You're a contract guy.
I read contracts instead of conventional pornography, yes.
Slippery little bastard! Making the mother of all omelets here, Jack. Can't spread over every egg.
And we're officially back, boys and girls. Good to see you here today. It's Legal Mindset. We teach you to be your own judge. And I think I may have not scuffed it. Are we not muted right now? Are we not muted right now? Thumbs up in the chat if we're not muted right now. And we're in sound. I know. I was very worried. I'm going to be honest. I was very worried because I haven't fully moved everything over to Restream yet. And so I had to use StreamYard today because I wanted to have a couple elements, my clips, everything else, my videos. We're good. All right. I am going to migrate platforms. I'm going to abandon StreamYard for the failure that it is. But that said, it's good that it works today. So thank you. Good to see everybody. Love you all. Happy to be here. Doing some VTuber shit for once in a while. And I see you in the chat trying to throw me off. Big Booty Starfish saying I'm muted. Get out of here. Get out of here. All right. I got to say thank you real quick because we have a super base. I'm here for the scuff with 20, with 10, and then for 2 saying more scuff tax incoming. Thank you so much. You lovely, lovely.
And they're still fucking nerds.
Goddamn nerds, I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you, Scuff. Obviously, we had a little bit the last day, the last 2 days. So thank you for that. I appreciate you guys being patient with me and sticking with me on this. We have a lot of coverage today. Today we're doing VTuber coverage. So I know I haven't forgot. Senpai has not forgotten about you, VTuber community. Do not worry. I'm still here and we're going to cover this today. Also, future stream topics. We now have the Smash JT lawsuit with Alyssa McConte, and that one will be fun. So I've been asked to go on a couple shows about that, and I want to obviously cover it first on my channel here. So we'll probably do a breakdown of that in the next 24 hours or so at some point, and then I'll flip over. I'll also flip back because I have some news on Hank talking about the cabbages. There's a little bit of development. So stuff is going on now with Hank. So we may have to do a deep dive on Hank, the ally and buddy of Johnny Somali, who's coming out here and causing some trouble in that case. So we're going to talk about that because I've got some stuff on that. So we've got an update. So we got a lot of content. We got a hell of a lot of content. And I'm being asked to cover a bunch of topics. Once again, I do what I can. I'm but one simple lawyer. And if I feel like I don't have enough time to research a topic, I just don't do it. Right? Just don't do it. Has Hank left? Well, I feel like there's going to be a breakup. But we'll talk about that. All right. What else we got here? King Lugia for 1. Thank you. And then another 1. So that's 2. Thank you, King Lugia. And then 3. So appreciate the 3 there. Ryobe says too late. Scuff lawman, legally minded.
I don't care. No one asked, bro. No one asked.
Seriously, no one cares. Get Zerged as a new member. Welcome. Professor King as a new member. Welcome. And then JP Ravenfire, my latest mod. Big shout out to JP dropping 5 illegal mindset memberships. Thank you.
Yes.
And you're a Clegane, so just got off work. Timing's perfect. Yeah, timing's perfect for another Niji scandal. Now, just when you thought the focus was going to be on cover, because for those out there that have been paying attention to this, and for those that have been kind of in the VTuber world, I think it's fair to say that over the last maybe couple months, Niji's been relatively, and I say that with like a spoonful of, caution. Right? A spoonful of caution. Niji has been relatively quiet in that there haven't been any huge, massive scandals that have broken out. Meanwhile, there are things that are happening at cover, which are raising eyebrows, which are making a lot of people ask questions. So there's there was a lot of attention on cover. And then a certain scandal broke by a certain purple, perhaps also has a My Little Pony avatar reporter. So we'll talk about that. We'll go through his video here, which is only has a mere 226K likes, which views, which it should have way more for what's going on here. But we'll talk about that, and I'll talk about the Niji response. In fact, one of the good things about waiting a couple days is it's kind of clear what's happening, and a spoiler alert, it's probably not going to be good for the folks in the company or the folks with contractual relationships with the company. So we'll talk about that in a second. All right. I think I've gotten everybody there. Also, did I not put this on Twitter? I don't think I did. So let me put this out here. So I'll just put just put this out here on Twitter so everybody just got that. All right, or X, however you want to call it. All right, we're good to go. All right, so let's just watch the video to get a background and make sure we're established on the background here. I'm just going to watch the false video because he's got that. That'll give us the background facts. And then I'm going to talk about the Niji response because obviously they have the response and where that's going to go and how that's going to unfold. So let's just start with this video. Now, for those who don't know, I see some people in the chat. Maybe you're new. Maybe you don't know who Nijisanji is. So I guess we should explain Nijisanji. I guess we should explain that. I see somebody in the chat who asked that question. What is a Nijisanji? All right, what is a Nijisanji? Well, in case you're not aware of VTubing, it's kind of a thing. And there are major, if you don't know what VTubing is, that's a whole separate backstory. Go watch my older video. I have a playlist, which is like this is VTubing or whatever. Like this is an explanation of VTubing. Hold on a second. So let me just, sorry guys, it's a client trying to call me right now. Oh, okay, got it. Anyways, so real quick. So yeah, Kurosanji. There's essentially two major companies that cover, there's two major companies that cover VTubing in the realm of Japan, right? Which is the major market. And because there's only two major companies, right? Nijisanji, Anycolor. There are smaller companies. There's companies in the US. There's companies in Canada. There's other companies. Because these two companies are there, there's often, let's say a lot of pressure at the corporate level, right? And while certainly Cover Corporation, which is one of the larger corporations, which incorporates a group known as HoloLive, which is their VTubing wing, and then Anycolor Corporation, both of which are headquartered in Tokyo, and they're over there in Japan under Japanese law. And they are, and then Anycolor has Nijisanji, which is their VTubing wing, right? Coke and Pepsi. Very good explanation. WWF and WCW. Thank you. Right? Cover Corp versus Anycolor. Right? And in case you need a very basic, this is actually a pretty good one here. VTubers are streamers with cartoon avatars. That's close. Yeah, I mean, you could say cartoon or you could say anime avatars, right? Now, the issue comes is that many of these VTubers, the people behind the avatar, are not located in Japan. And this creates two major problems. One of them is non-legal and one of them is legal. The first problem that's non-legal is that, they're not really used to Japanese culture and Japanese workplace expectations, including, by the way, some very negative elements. Look, I am very bullish about Asia, bullish about helping people to come to Asia, but I am honest, and there are drawbacks, and there's a reason why, for example, I don't work in a Japanese company. I have many Japanese friends. The stories they tell me about what the things they do in their companies, and this is just to receive a very mediocre salary. I mean, it's kind of sad, right? It's extremely sad, right? They're working their ass off for what I make in 1 week or something like that, doing one of my businesses, not even two, right? Just one of them. They're working their ass off, and they're asked to do all sorts of off the hour stuff, all sorts of overtime. They have no time between anything else. I was once told this story about this is a girl in Japan who's working for a company, and they're doing sales, and she literally had to go from like Fukuoka to like, where it was like, she did a route. It was like Fukuoka to like Hiroshima to like Osaka in like one day. It was like she did a lot of traveling in one day just to close these business partners. And it was so intense, the travel schedule, that she didn't even have time to like really eat at all. Like she had to make immediate connections to get everything done and get back. And they expected her to come to work the next day. So she's just done like 12 hours of traveling, right? Like straight nonstop traveling. And they expect you to be there bright and early, 7, 8 a.m. in the morning. It can be pretty intense. And a lot of people are not willing to do that. Some people are willing to do that. Some people are not, right? And it's pretty crazy. And if you come from a culture or a country where we don't have as intense work culture, and you show up to Japan, this may be something shocking to you. You may be like, wow, this is crazy. But for them, it's like, no, this is just what you do. Right, you just do this. So that's a cultural side, right? Yeah, and some people here in the chat saying that's common in Japan, right? Yeah. Work hard now, get wasted later. Yeah, there you go. Hoppy says 3, Sanrio making big moves as of today. Okay, well, whatever. Okay, well, I guess we'll talk about that later. The rise of Sanrio. But that said, let's just stick with Coke and Pepsi for now, huh? Before we bring in the Dr. Pepper. Now, that said, that is the cultural side. Now let's talk about the legal side, which is where I come in. So one of the biggest issues is Japanese law is not like U.S. law. So essentially, the biggest mistake is that it is totally different in many critical aspects, including things like defamation, right? And that's a huge one. Something like defamation, the difference in the law there. There's also differences in laws that don't apply to contracts and other things, stuff like assault, right? There's no self-defense in most of Asia, or rather, it really is a different analysis for self-defense, right? It's completely different. The type of analysis you do in the United States, certainly laws we have like stand your ground and other self-defense laws, you just don't apply in the same way in most of Asia, including Japan. But that's not relevant. These VTubers are not there out on the streets fighting people, right? That's more related to my case of Johnny Somali over there in Korea. That's my separate coverage. But in the context of Japan, you have issues that can be contractual. For example, they might require you to pay certain types of fees. They might require you to pay damages if you quit early, right? Stuff like that, which may be okay for them to do in the context of foreign jurisdictions. If they're in Korea, Japan, whatever, they may be able to do that. Whereas in Canada, the US, Western Europe, Australia, places that most of us are from, although I know a lot of you guys are from other countries. We got a lot of people here. Shout out to the Philippines. Got a lot of people down in Vietnam, Southeast Asia. I'm in Thailand right now. I'll be in Taiwan. I think I'm renewing my Taiwan trip, so I think I'm doing that. So I'll be there soon, and then I'll also be in Vietnam. So I look forward to visiting those countries. But that said, and I love it and appreciate wherever you are in the world, whether in Europe or anywhere else, I love you, appreciate you. But I know the majority of my audience is in the United States. That's just my statistics. Canada's got a significant amount. Aussies, I got a good amount of Aussies. But that said, the difference in law is a huge deal, because oftentimes these companies are thinking in a Japanese mindset, and they are suing and attacking on a Japanese mindset, which to us in America is ridiculous. It comes off as stifling, for example, freedom of speech. The level of defamation that you can hit somebody with is of a level that would be stifling to free speech. We'd call it, in the US, we'd call it a strategic lawsuit against public participation, a SLAPP lawsuit. But SLAPP lawsuits are effectively legal in Japan and Korea and other places. Now, not entirely. There is a public interest exception, but that is a much more narrow carve out. A lot more people don't want to speak up because they're afraid of defamation, insult laws, which can also be criminal, can land you in jail. So ending up defaming somebody can be a serious thing. It can be a very, very serious thing. So, okay, I think I've got enough background there. Do you guys feel okay? Let me actually put out here because I want to see my audience. Okay, who is not? No, who's familiar with my VTuber coverage? I just want to see this. So it's like been here since you started covering. No, been here since you started. Just joined after Somali coverage, or also Ramsey coverage, or cabbage coverage. And then I'll put a like I'm an OG category. Okay. So, okay, got it. So we got three things. So if you've been here since I started my VTuber coverage, let me know. If you came here just from the cabbage episode, you can do that. Or if you're an OG, let me know. Because some people out there have been here since like the beginning of the channel or near the beginning when I was covering Amber Heard or Rittenhouse. So I do appreciate it. The reason why I love my followers is because you guys have followed me covering so many topics. And I appreciate that. Zorro, Zephyr says, since Doki. Awesome. Species 316 for the 20 Legal Mindset memberships. Thank you so much.
Yes.
So good. Thank you. And let's see here. JV says the West has more favorable labor laws. East Asia has a strong culture of saving face. Yes. And also community, right? So it's not about the individual. It's about the community. And there, by the way, I'm not making a value judgment on that. There are instances where that's better. And there's instances where individualism is better. It's a case-by-case basis. It really has to apply to, okay, in this instance, is this something where somebody should be sucking it up for the team or should be, allowed to have some individual metrics, right? So I think there are points at which, for example, let me give a quick example here. There are points at which we cater to individuals and, we cater to them to such an extent that it's too much. I'll give an example. If somebody believed they were a cat boy and they really believed I'm a cat boy, are you going to provide them with a scratching post in the office and a litter box so they can defecate in the middle of the office? No, I mean that'd be detrimental to the whole, right? But there's times at which, for example, in the Asian system, and this is a ridiculous, preposterous one, but not so far preposterous from where workplaces have gotten in 2024 in the West, versus in the East. One problem there I can see is with kind of meritocracy. So a big problem is I've seen very skilled employees in Japan and Korea who are smart, who are capable, who are way above everybody else, who are working way harder, and they don't get a raise. And they don't get a raise because everybody has to get the same raises based on when they join the company. So if you've been at the company for 5 years, you all get the 5-year raise. You've been there for 10 years, you get the 10-year raise. It's just that's how it is. There's no negotiating. There's no going in and saying, I think I'm worth more. No. So yeah. Hari, as a new member, welcome. Ryobi. So it's funny how the year started with Niji in the headlines and Doki Bird back in February, now ending with Niji blowing the yacht yet again. Crazy, I know. And I'm going to get attacked by the Niji sisters that are going to say I'm using stock footage, which is so hilarious. It was so hilarious how we owned them on that so hard. It's like, yeah, bro, that my friend took that photo. Josh took that photo. Hilarious. Kid Loco says, I'm not the beginning, but most of the Kurosanji and Selen, I think. I wish I had you time with Ambertoxia, but I was in a different place looking at that. Yeah. That would have been different if everybody was with me since Amber. But, things have changed, and my coverage has changed, and my style has changed since then, which is a good thing. I think I'm becoming more of a man of culture, as you might say. A man of culture. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I haven't. I have to put here, men of culture are, of course.
Not a sin. I cannot absolve you. Mega based.
JV for 50 says they're even shamed for quitting. Exactly. It's something they don't do. It's something that's not culturally acceptable, really. Mr. Alex says, I was watching an interview between Mark Hollow and Johnny Somali's former moderator, Fab, maybe? It seems Hank and Gino have decided to abandon Johnny Somali. Yeah, I've gotten... so I have some little tidbits on that. So we're going to watch the Hank stuff. So don't you worry. That's coming in probably somewhere next 2 days. I'll have a big Hank episode. I want to make sure it's very informative, but I've already got some juicy stuff and some behind the scenes DMs that show that the party may be over between Hank and Johnny very soon. EDMG7 says, a YouTuber I follow describes Japan mentally like a ship crew. Everyone needs to work together on the ship or it sinks, but nowadays it's less necessary. Yeah, and, to be honest, there is something to that. Yes, when the company is failing, you just have to step up and help it fit and right the ship. But here's the problem. When the company is profiting, does everybody share equally in the profits? No, of course. There's a very small group at the top, like the Rikus, like the investors, that are getting all the rewards, and then the peons of the corporation are being neglected. By and large, I guarantee you the majority of the staff there is underpaid. And we actually saw that with the $7 an hour lawyers they were buying, that they were treating no better than a... they were paying $7 and some change for people to do legal work, what is work that should be done by a lawyer. It's insane. And they were trying to hire college graduates. They were trying to hire students to do the work. It's really nuts. King Conda said, it's been a glorious wild ride since Doki. I love it. I've been having a hell of a lot of fun. And then insert name here for 2 says, Cat Boys where? I don't know. I don't know where Fuentes went. Gator says, meme copium is the gift that keeps on giving. Josh has done some really great coverage of a lot of topics, whether it's from Nickety Crackets to just all things Japan. He's done really great coverage. All right, so let's get into our major topic today. Enough yapping here as I go through this. Although I will say, you guys are pretty based. One thing I love about my VTuber streams is everybody who watches the VTuber stuff is used to the yapping. So I get a lot less comments complaining about yapping than on my Somali videos, on my Ramsey Khalid Ismail videos. Because you guys are used to VTubers just yapping for hours and hours and hours and hours, right? Versus people that are used to watching 15-minute clips and they want their information like now, right? They don't really want to wait. Like that audience is very interesting sometimes because their attention span is shorter, right? It's the TikTok gen, but that's cool. Yeah, you guys are pro yap. You guys are here for the yap. By the way, the poll, we have over 700 votes. 60% said been here since you started covering VTuber issues. 20% says just joined after Cabbage, and then 20% say they're an OG. Cool. That's a good split. 60-20-20. That's awesome. It's good to know I've got my VTuber gangsters here today. All right, so let's start with the false video. I want to just go through this, so we're just going to listen to the facts, and I'll pause it when there's something really relevant.
Specifically, one of their hired talents, that being the Nijisanji English liver, Aster Arcadia. Warning, this episode does dive into very serious subjects, and we have kept this episode unmonetized. Our thanks go out to our...
Oh, yeah, so, I guess since we're talking about these topics, oh God, I might be in need of a golden shower after this.
Disgusting.
All right, let's continue.
Our viewers for any likes and comments on this video, along with sharing it as they see fit, as this is perhaps one of our most important episodes ever. Disregarding a number of...
Seriously though, I mean, on any time I talk about any of these topics, it goes real yellow.
allegations and accusations against Aster Arcadia, some of which date all the way back to February of 2024. That as at that time, a communication between Aster and another Nijisanji.
I love everybody in the chat who's like context. I'll just give you context. Wait, can I set this up? Can I set this up here? Hold on. I got this. There we go. Okay, there we go. Set it up in the chat. The goal has been set. L equal disciple of Wasis. Classic Kurosanji at rock bottom. Then proceed to scoop the dirt with a bulldozer to get lower. And Ryobi said, "Let the gold flow." Yes, thank you very much, guys, for your support as we get demonetized here today.
English talent, that being Scarla Uniguni, had appeared online. This communication at the time not being verified, and this conversation between Aster and Scarla being very contentious between the two. Scarla apologizing profusely to Aster, and Aster replying, "I mean, is that it? Am I supposed to be like, oh, no problem, and just go about my day?" Following that up later with, "Am I not going to get a response to this?" And lastly, seriously, LOL.
Okay, sorry. I want to actually read this real quick. Sorry, real quick. King Khan, golden shower time. JP Ravenfire. If we must, and I must, unfortunately, I must deal with you.
Degenerates. You guys degenerates.
She locked her, said, "Oh, look, I went to the doctor, so it's the right color now." Hannah Fools is my contribution to the shower. Thank you, Hannah. Kid Loco said, "I hear sighs. A yellow rain time. Rain, rain under the ring. They're dropping rain in Andrea head? Andrea. What is that? My like female version? Andrea? Speechy says, "Golden shower since Amber Heard. Let it flow." No, Amber was a little bit more brown than gold. And then Tatsumi for 10 pounds says, "Golden shower time." And take Canadian into the beginning, and here's some more for the shower. Thank you guys. Appreciate that for helping me be monetized in the most degenerate way. Thank you. It's in fact, you know, once again, that support is in fact 100%.
Oh yeah, that's what I like to see. Oh yeah.
Let's continue.
Oh, so you're purposely ignoring me. Upon the release of that screenshot online, Aster Arcadia and Scarla Uniguni then holding an impromptu stream together. This stream having prior not appeared on either of their schedules, and later the talents of Nijisanji English sharing heart emoji tweets with one another. This all happening at the same time that Raziel Warmonic had taken to Twitter to talk about her time as a moderator for Nijisanji English talent Luca Kaneshiro.
Now pause. We've reviewed that, and actually so. I know Raziel got a cease and desist, and one of the things that I pointed out, and this is something that happened in the past, is that Niji has been hiring, Any Color has hired American lawyers to send cease and desists. So they have hired an American law firm to do that. So you know that they've doubled down on suing people in other countries. So now let me make this clear. Threatening people in other countries. They haven't sued anybody yet. So I take that back. And they haven't actually sued anybody at all. And I'm 50-50, and I genuinely mean that, on whether they actually would. Because I think it would be horrible PR. And I will tell you right now, if they actually sued somebody, like, for example, if they sued, False or somebody for reporting what is true, and of course, it's something that I knew was true or I had reason to believe was true, and they were suing unjustly under American law, I would absolutely do whatever I could to help defend those people from this corporate attack, right? Assuming what they said is true, and I have reason to believe what they say is true, right? And I've seen the evidence, I've seen the backup. I'm like, yep, this is true. I would defend them for sure. I would do what I can to help defend the folks stateside against this attack of Nijisanji, right? And their bullshit New York law firm that they hire to bully people. It's absolutely disgusting. And this is what a lot of people are trying to do. A lot of people try to do. We'll talk about this separately with the Alyssa and Smash JT lawsuit. I'm going to cover that on a different stream. I know about it. I'm aware of it. But this is what happens. People try to bully people through lawfare. And oftentimes corporations try to smash you with just their resources. They try to say, hey, I've got more money than you. I'm just going to bleed you out. That's a strategy that was actually perfected by the Walt Disney Corporation. They've been using it for over 80 years to silence their critics. The only times they lose are when they go up against people like the government that have pretty much unlimited time and money, so they can't outweight them and they can't outspend them. Right, it's just not going to work because the government can just create more money, what they do all the time, right? So, or they can tax them for it, right? That was the funny situation in Florida, is that Disney was suing the state that could just increase the taxes on them to pay for the lawsuit. It was very hilarious. So yeah, no, that's the basis of it. And of course, corporations around the world learned from American corporations like Disney through lawfare. They looked at them doing this lawfare and they said, oh yeah, we'll do that too. And so when they go out and look around, they say, no, yeah, let's just sue them. Let's just sue them. And there is a point at which it's worth to do it. And I think this is the point, and we're going to get through this towards the end, where there is a chance of them actually doing it. And I'm still 50-50 on whether they do it or not, but I think there's a good chance. It's not 0. It's not 10. I think it's a coin toss. I think it's a coin flip on, do they come after certain people or not? And now certain people, they have a slam dunk. Certain people would be much harder. We'll talk about that towards the end. Let's continue.
Raziel stating she was not aware of where that particular screenshot had come from. Raziel later into the next month then releasing a document regarding Luca Kaneshiro, but also addressing the subject of Aster Arcadia harassing other co-workers, stating, I can confirm that Luca said that multiple girls were coming to him about the issue since management wouldn't do anything, and he discussed it with both Alira and I. This being another talent with the Nijisanji English agency, that being Alira Pandora. Raziel continuing, I personally told him to gather as much evidence as possible, since it shouldn't be there, that being Luca's and Alira's job, to regulate this issue. To my understanding, nothing was done about it. Raziel then including this screenshot from a direct message saying another Nijisanji liver confirmed by DM the Aster allegations after this had been made public. 2 months later, a law firm representing the parent company of Nijisanji English, that being Any Color Incorporated, sending a cease and desist notice to Raziel and stating Any Color takes its responsibility toward employees and those it manages and treats any allegations of misconduct seriously. It reacts appropriately to any allegations brought to its attention, including via personal consultations with its human resources and or...
Okay. So obviously, yes, we had the contract. I'm very aware and I'm very familiar with the contract. I've gone into in detail the contract, and this is a very good point here. And thank you, Professional Gentleman, who's been one of my moderators since this. He's a fucking awesome moderator. PG's in the chat for Professional Gentleman. He's a hardworking guy. Also, he helped me. He helps me train our newbie, our Kohai. You know, it's like Senpai Kohai, Senpai Professional Gentleman, Kohai, JP, and then the mistress of puppets is Danielle, who, by the way, thank you, Danielle, for helping me sort out my audio issues today. But anyways, PG, the OG, says Nijisanji contract explicitly states that the management will not get involved with talents having issue with third parties. Yes, they do not get involved. I have called this the let them fight, the Godzilla rule. Niji has an explicit clause that they do not get in between fights between people, between livers. They don't get involved at all. So no, HR is not going to help you. HR is not coming to save you, right? PG might, because all the PGs in the chat. Look at this base chat. I mean, sorry, but I just got to say that for PG. Hold on, I got a clip here. I got a clip.
Hello, best department.
Thank you. But anyways, they have a let them fight rule. So they're not going to mediate that. But here's the difference. They have a very strict policy on defamation, on slander, on saying anything bad about them. If you're a liver and you have a contract with them, you 100% cannot say anything bad about them, even slightly insinuating they've done something wrong. You cannot do anything that would even be interpreted in the weirdest way as disparaging, right? And after you're out of Nijisanji, there's a period of time in which you would have to, essentially, in most circumstances, you would have to stay silent, or they'd expect you to stay silent. They also try to get you to sign something that requires you to stay confidential and silent after you leave, which most people aren't going to sign or shouldn't sign. All right, real quick. I've got too many of these. I got to answer. Tatsumi says, sharks excrete urine through their skin so they get a true golden shower experience. And then he also said, for another 10, we've collected enough golden shower to sink the yacht. Setsuna F. Sai for 10 says my contribution to the golden shower. Ricardo Funk for $9.99 says, Goldo experience. I mean, Goldo shower. Context just in case. JoJo meme. Yes, JoJo. Einhander said for 10 says, gonna need a clip of that scene from American Pie 2 with Stifler and the champion. I can taste the bubbles. Triple J 26 says, Riku's yacht, let it be sunk in the golden shower. Kristen says, if we must, we must. And Linux says, did you post Dalgoon's PayPal or whatever? I need to get back to him on that. Mind you, guys, Dalgoon does not speak good English, so I need to I'm usually go through an intermediary to get that information, and I'll remember to check with that after the show. But I want to make sure I get the right one, and also I want to make sure it can be used for legal stuff, because the issue with legal stuff is some platforms do not allow you to fund legal lawsuits, right? So you have to be very careful when you start fundraising money about what you're raising it for. If it's for a lawsuit, that is a no-no. Now, it can be used for other stuff that is not a lawsuit. It can be used for research or investigation. It can be used for other stuff. But the lawsuit itself, it can't go to pay lawyers or pay court fees and stuff like that, right? So that is just something out there. Napoleon Jonomite Mugen says, sink the yacht. Riku is worst girl. Yeah, Riku is pretty bad. Riku's pretty bad. Just some funds for the Pipitos. Degenerate. Invader Talks says 10 months. Also another company well versed in the lawfare's Nintendo. Ironic considering lawfare almost killed them back in the 80s when Universal tried it on them. Exactly. And now they're actually using it, and they're kind of winning because Pal World has actually changed some of their game. They've taken the Pal spheres, and now instead of throwing them, you hold them out and they get summoned beside you, which is 100% in response to the lawsuit. Hi says, or hell says, pro yap, but what's with the high res male avatar? I know, male on screen. I know. Josh Glover says, found you because of Doki Niji issue, saw a few videos, and I found you again for Johnny stuff and getting shouted out by Atozi for the coverage. Awesome. Well, welcome back, Josh Glover. Appreciate you're here. And, I try to cover big topics, try to cover things that I think are very important and that I can lend an ear to. Matt says, Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I agree with you. Anybody who doesn't agree with that is a communist, right? Let's continue.
Legal representatives, and since April 12th of 2024, that date being after the release of Raziel Warmonic's document on Luca Kaneshiro, through its quote-unquote internal whistleblowing policy for livers. This apparently being a new policy within Any Color regarding policy around whistleblowing. And now for the first time ever, TVS is presenting those direct messages to Raziel from this other Nijisanji English.
Okay, thank you for the message. I've known about you, and I'm happy you finally told the truth. Please do not be afraid or worried legally what they can do to you. The truth is they cannot. Don't let them silence or scare you into silence as they've done to many. The person in question has done a lot of bad things, not for you. Wait, who sent this message? Because this is not true. Because they can do something to you if you're an ex-liver. So, look, as much as I want to, okay, how do I explain this? As much as I want to say that they can't do shit and they're impotent, they're not. They do have money. They could sue you. They can withhold funds if you're a liver. They could definitely do that, right? So let's say they owe you money. Let's say they owe to pay you on your last month because they don't pay you till the next month, right? So let's say they owe you $10,000, $20,000 because you're a liver, you're making a bunch of money. They owe you money. They'll just hold that money. And they have enough clauses in their contract to justify, oh yeah, well, under this clause, We said we can hold your payment. We said we can take this money and we can use it for legal fees. We can use it to sue you with your own money. They've got that in their really crazy contract. They've got that in there. So they're going to hold your money. That's not, so someone says, please do not worry what they can do to you. They can do that to you. They could try to sue you. They could try to hit you with defamation. Now, if you're in Japan, it's going to be a lot more tough than in America. It's going to be very difficult for them to do it in America. And practically, yes, that'll be very difficult for them to win. But it's not like they can't do anything. So it is irresponsible to say they can't legally do anything. They could. And you speaking up, particularly if you're a ex-liver, is a thing. Now, somebody saying this is messages to Raziel. I get it. But what I'm saying is, and Raziel's not an ex-Niji employee. Okay, cool, right? Raziel doesn't. But what I'm going to say is this. That's cool about Raziel, but it's not true about actual livers. So it can be true about Raziel, but not about livers. Right? So there you go. Raziel, okay, yeah, they can't do anything to her. She doesn't have a contract, right? But in terms of the livers themselves, yes, Niji can absolutely do stuff that's legal to them. Right?
Liver, saying to Raziel at the time, thank you for your message.
Hold on. This is not a members-only stream. Finally, first time to watch a members-only stream. This is not a members-only stream. Who thinks this is a members-only stream? No way. This is everybody.
I've known about you and I'm happy you finally told the truth. Please do not worry or be afraid legally what they can do to you. The truth is they cannot. Don't let them silence you or scare you into silence as they've done to so many. The person in question has done a lot of bad things.
I love you. Hey, look, listen. I'm sorry I called you out there. Listen, it's not just you. I mean, I literally scuffed my streams 4 times the other day. I scuffed my stream 4 times. Okay? So, I mean, you know, I'm just saying that, you know.
Look, here's the thing.
Fine. Listen,
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm kind of retarded.
And I love how much that clip triggers people. Let's go.
Not just to you, so thank you for sharing your experience. This Nijisanji English Liver then clarifying to help you with clarity. I remember that incident. It was Aster. And adding, a lot of people waited for you to tell the truth for a while because it had been an issue. So I'm happy you finally did. Do not worry about those that are sending hate. This truth in the long run will help so many people. And now here we are months later. Aster Arcadia is still fully employed with Nijisanji English as more documents have been making their rounds regarding accusations against Aster Arcadia. One individual reaching directly out to TVS, proving they had been in direct contact with a Nijisanji English Liver that was different from the one that was speaking to Raziel earlier in the year. This individual forwarding on not just communications between them and the Nijisanji English Liver, but further proof in regards to the validity of these communications, including providing evidence that they and the Nijisanji English Liver were mutuals on Twitter, then linking their alternate Discord account and alternate Discord server, further providing evidence of their personal Steam account alongside a Throne account they held outside of Nijisanji English. This individual also providing proof of their game accounts which could be verified on the Nijisanji English Liver's actual Nijisanji English streams. One section between this individual and the Nijisanji English Liver reading.
So one thing real quick is this. Okay. Whoever this is, it's going to be so easy to figure out because literally all you have to do is go into Discord and just search these terms. Like literally, if you just search the term sex pest, right, you're going to be able to figure out who this is. And then they've got timestamps here. So whoever this is, I know they're anonymous, but it's going to be really easy for them to figure it out if they have access to this. I'm just saying. So just with the Discord logs, like, sometimes I'm interested of like in the process of, okay, do you show them or not? Because if you show them, you may be outing somebody.
When I had a mental breakdown and went to Twitch, it was because Aster was saying like he wants to fly me out to Japan, saying weird actual X-pesting my friends. I went to management, they wouldn't even speak to him. I was really considering graduating. And of course, meaning that they were considering leaving the company of Nijisanji English.
And someone just said, well, that would require them here. I'll put the comment. Someone said that would require them logging onto their Discord accounts to check. You know the thing where in the Nijisanji contract, Niji has access to all of your social media accounts? So if, yeah, and I see your comment here, Gator, saying the person in question has long been rumored to be part of the graduation queue. That's fine, but they can, I mean, technically, Niji, if it's an official Discord, would have access to that. If they don't, then that would also be a breach of the contract as well, right? Because they have this social media that Niji doesn't have access to. It's a secret social media they don't have access to. And they're talking about company business. So, yeah.
This Nijisanji English Live continuing on, but my manager talked me out of it. It feels gross to me, like I feel like I am hiding his behavior. Because it's not just me, it's many.
Now, this is a huge accusation here, by the way. My manager talked me out of it. So this is really fucking bad. So this one right here, from a corporate PR standpoint, and even from a legal standpoint, of having a manager that once again, their contract, and it even violates Niji's own contract, because Niji said they didn't get involved, and now they're actually going and getting involved. So Niji actually breached their own contract by getting involved, but they're literally saying here, hey, suppress this. Hey, don't report this if it's criminal. You know, that's actually bad. In the US, you cannot NDA out of illegal acts, but this is not America, right? So I know people are going to be shocked on this, but the laws regarding NDAs in America are relatively new. So all of those exceptions we have for NDAs that can't cover sexual acts. So for example, you can't NDA if you assault somebody in a sexual manner. If you do SA, you can't NDA to protect you from SA. That person can always come forward and report the SA, no matter what, or the grape. Right? And I'm saying that because we're already demonetized enough here, right? You cannot NDA out of that. That's US law, but it's new law. It's really only the last 5 to 10 years in the US on a state and federal level. So in Japan, though, that may be different. And I'm not, that's one where I'd have to triple check to make sure, because I'm not a Japanese lawyer, much like I'm not a Korean lawyer, I'm not a Thai lawyer, I'm an American lawyer. I'd have to check with my Japanese counterparts and confirm that. But I don't know whether they have that law. And I would be shocked, because this is a very progressive law in the United States. And I say that in terms of it's a new law. It's a new law, not an old ancient law. So since we are kind of at the bleeding edge of these sort of laws that allow NDAs to be nullified if it's a certain type of crime of a sexual nature, I don't know whether Japan has that. And I would be kind of shocked if they do. So I think they might actually try to attempt to bury it under a Japanese NDA.
Many girls, a lot of my friends. When being asked why management had not taken action, this Nijisanji English Liver then replying, I don't know, but I assume they are scared to fire after what happened, and then citing bad PR, that being bad public relations, meaning this Nijisanji English Liver believes that Aster was not reprimanded because Nijisanji English did not want anything like this being made public, even if Aster was found to be in the wrong. This Nijisanji English Liver then finding out these communications had been forwarded to us, and then directly reaching out. A call then being set up between us and this Nijisanji English Liver. This anonymous Nijisanji English Liver then telling us they were considering speaking to us about this subject regarding Aster Arcadia, calling this the fault of the company and the individual, that being Aster.
So, and you've put it, so if somebody's speaking up and they're saying that it's the fault of the company, that is business disparagement, right? So if what they're saying is not true, so hear me out. If what they're saying is not true, that in the US, that would be business disparagement, right? Or business defamation. Now, Japan's a different standard, right? Is this in the public interest for them to get this information out there? It's a lot harder to bulk up a defense under Japanese law. So you got to be very careful with that. And that's why a lot of the people that report on this tend to be, if you notice the people that report on the naughty acts of these Japanese companies, they tend to be outside of Japan. There's very few. In fact, the very few that report inside Japan, often they go ghost, they change their names, they go out of business, they get sued, they get cease and desist, right? And I've been contacted by them. I've been contacted by outlets, news outlets that are saying we're scared or we're getting sued or we're getting hit with this, we're getting hit with warnings in Japan, right? Which is why they just can't operate there in the same way. It's really tough.
Personally describing that many Nijisanji English livers within the branch simply stay away from Aster, especially within voice chat, either not wanting to be dragged into games or into uncomfortable conversations with this Nijisanji English liver. It's enough.
Sorry, real quick. Kai Guy Nikki says, Aster goes around asking, send Bob's in Virginia. Del Salazar says, I want to say thank you for your service. Hey, appreciate that. I do what I can to help here. And entertain and educate. That is my goal, is to entertain and educate. Kai Guy also said ASMR, your lawyer yapping, indeed. And in the beginning said, I'm here for the scuff. It's great. And then Gigant Drago says, thanks for the educational entertaining stream. Always. I'll save the stuff, some of the other ones for later. JV Rubber Grotto says for 250, I think what the leaker is doing is something similar to civil disobedience. They leak stuff knowing that the consequences in an effort to end the ongoing justice. Well, I think the leaker may be in some trouble. And we'll continue here, but I think the leaker may be getting some pressure.
Anonymous Nijisanji English Liver then further telling us that they had spoken to one of their friends outside of Nijisanji and that Aster had been, quote, basically been saying the exact same stuff that had been going on in my calls with him. This anonymous Liver stating this is not okay, saying of their friend that this girl is a very big fan of the company and a very big fan of Aster, remarking that communications between Aster had been inappropriate and further classifying them as uncomfortable. This anonymous Nijisanji English Liver then saying in another call with another girl. The Liver asked if anything weird had happened between them and Aster. This other girl confirming the exact same inappropriate discussions had also occurred between them and Aster Arcadia. The anonymous Nijisanji Liver adding, I can assume this is happening to many people as I was told by another girl, this being a third friend, that Aster is doing this to smaller indie VTubers and VTubers within smaller VTuber agencies. And further hearing this from other friends that this Nijisanji English Liver trusts. This anonymous Liver saying that when speaking with the other girls, that before even talking to the other girls about the inappropriate conversations they had with Aster, these other girls would simply repeat the exact same experiences that happened to them. This anonymous Liver initially wanting to give Aster the benefit of the doubt, thinking maybe they're just not good at communicating and speaking with people.
Which, by the way, I assume a lot. This is, by the way, from Falsa's channel. It was his original reporting, so I'm trying to give him in his video the shout out here. And this is his video titled "Exclusive Nijisanji VTuber Speaks Out Against Niji En." But real quick there, he said something very important. So I want to replay this because I want to rewind this like a couple seconds and then re-listen to this part.
And that he simply did the benefit of the doubt they had with Aster. These other girls would simply repeat the exact same experiences that happened to them. This anonymous Liver initially wanting to give Aster the benefit of the doubt, thinking maybe they're just not good at communicating and speaking with people.
And this is something that I will say on the internet. This one, I give people a wide berth, right? Because here's my little philosophy on this. There are people, especially nowadays, and the way it is, that are not getting the same level of social interaction. I mean, all of you guys out there, you know, in the chat. I know we got a lot of. And
they're still fucking nerds.
A lot of nerds out there. I'm a fucking nerd too. Anyways, and it took years for me to like build up. When I was back home when I was a kid, you know, I was playing video games. I grew up just playing playing all sorts of computer video games. I wasn't as social when I was a very, very young kid, but then I grew up. I met a lot of friends. I ended up doing a lot of jobs, like, for example, working as a waiter, bartender, stuff like that, service jobs, working as like a camp counselor, and doing a lot of things that required me to talk to a lot of people. And I realized, oh yeah, I'm actually an extrovert, and I really love this. I love being around people. It recharges me. It really makes me happy. And it took me a lot of time to do that and build up social skills. And I think, well, yeah, if people had the social skills I had when I was 12, right, then yeah, they're not going to be that well equipped, and some people do. And so I think there is a thoughtfulness of, hey, people need to develop their social skills and be given some space to do that. And sometimes you have to tell people, hey, you can't say that or you can't do that, because they just don't know any better. And somebody's got to tell them, right? Somebody's got to be the person that like puts them to the side and says, hey man, you can't do that. Or like, hey, that's not cool. Or hey, don't do that. And I want to say that like there needs to be a little bit of room for that. So people making an off-color comment once or twice, somebody pulls them aside and says, yo, bro, don't do that, right? There needs to be some sort of space for that. However, when you've been told or and you do it repeatedly to multiple people, then it becomes a problem, right? Then it becomes a problem. People say, I became a truck driver because I'm an introvert. Yeah, exactly. Did you smash those? Bro, I'm banning you from the chat. You know what? God. Oh, it's so bad. The chat is so bad here. Sitsutar Luchai, thank you, Kopkunka, for the 5 legal mindset memberships. Appreciate that very, very much. Thank you. Kid Loca for 1. Thank you. Kai Guy Nikki said for 50, I learned my social skills from League Lobby. That's why you're a complete degenerate. That makes sense. Ryobi says Kurosanji reminds me a lot of Vector. They're going down that road here. Gid Zerg says these messages could also be on a PL. It's possible. That's possible. Splody Jesus says, here's the Catboy Golden Showers. What's a VTuber? We explained it earlier, so rewind. Kid Loco said, Andrea, the sexy no jutsu of Andrew. I like it. Chaos Smash says, Russian accent. It is a good day for gold shower. Привет. Getting a lot of value from your $2 super chat. Hayden J. Power says, I read a Japanese statute on NDA, no protection during criminal investigation or admin investigation. So my very awesome moderator, professional gentleman, and I'll pause this for a second to answer that super chat because that it directly answers it. So there is a Japanese whistleblower act, okay? So it does exist. So here it is. Here's the Whistleblower Act in Japan, right? So you've got this here, right? Okay. Apparently it's effective from June 1st, 2022. That's supposed to protect whistleblowers from unfair treatment. And whistleblowers are people who would report a government or a business wrongdoing. Eligible whistleblowers are workers, executive officers, and retirees within 1 year who report misconduct regarding their workplace, subject to criminal punishment or fine with wrong purpose. Here's a big problem with this. And PG, I don't know if you spotted this, my friend, but VTubers, livers, are not considered workers. They're specifically exempted in the contracts from everything under labor law. They're considered independent contractors. They're considered not employees. They are not workers, right? So that is something that would be a problem. Now, they are trying to update the statutes in Japan to make it like so that more contractors would fall under these labor protections, but historically they haven't been. So they are trying to change the laws to bring these types of people in, but historically they haven't been. And by the way, I do think that if they actually challenge this So here's the thing. I think if a liver sued in Japan, I think if Japan actually looked at this and did a serious job of considering it, they would say they're workers, even though you're calling them independent contractors, because you control them so much that they're a worker. I think the level of control they exert is the level of control of a worker. But Niji and most other companies, by the way, HoloLive, FaZe, every other company, well, in many countries, they all consider them non-employees in the traditional sense. So they are not entitled under any contract. In the Brave contract, the Idle contract that I went through, I mean, it's no secret, right? In none of these contracts are they actual employees. I have reviewed, yeah, and I agree with you. And professional gentlemen, I'm right, but it must be challenged. But right now, there is not a single contract. And guys, I'm just going to say this. I have reviewed contracts from 14 different companies right now. 14 different VTuber companies, big and small. 0 of them have been considered actual employees. I have not found one that in the contract has said they're an actual employee and they're not an independent contractor, they're not freelance or not a gig worker. Not a single contract. So you may think it's bad, but none of them do this. It's not standard. None of them would agree to it. And there's a reason why. Because if you do that, you have to pay all sorts of taxes, and they don't want to pay those. You have to pay for health insurance. They don't want to pay that, right? And all sorts of regulation that they don't want to deal with, including this. So that's from a legal standpoint why nobody does that, right? So, yeah. It's not probably going to be applied. But that said, should it protect them? Yes. Because here it says it should protect a business employee when an employee believes there is a violation of the law. So if you work for a business entity, the worker is supposed to report it internally first. And then there's supposed to be self-correction. Of course, we know they never do that. And so then they have to, of course, the worker can do external reporting to the government and to media, which can also correct. And business entities are required to have a system to respond to internal reports. Well, I think actually the system they set up with their contract is per se in violation of that law. Let me say this again. I think that the Nijisanji let them fight system is per se in violation of that law if they were workers. That's why they have to keep them as contractors, because if they're workers, you can't let them fight. You actually need to have a system for reporting your problems. Now, anybody who's worked in, by the way, welcome all the raiders. Appreciate you. I guess you're coming from Salvi. Okay, so thanks, Salvi. Appreciate you. But anybody who's worked in Japan can tell you that this is a really like rosy picture, that you would report something to your job and they would do anything about it. And they would make a real change. It's a bit of a push. Right. Okay, so let's continue. We're about halfway through this, so we got to finish this up.
That he simply did not understand why his behavior was wrong. This behavior, unfortunately, happening over and over again. The anonymous Nijisanji Live are finding out that he had been talking with numerous other girls, and then stating he would constantly say increasingly weird stuff. One of the conversations between the anonymous Nijisanji Liver and Aster, revolving around Aster asking, quote, "What if you were in Japan? What if you were in Japan and I was with you? What if you were in Japan and I was holding your hand? What if you were in Japan and I was hugging you? What if I was in the hotel room with you in Japan? Would you spend the entire day in the hotel room with me in Japan?" Aster Arcadia telling this Nijisanji English Liver, quote, "Oh, I bet you're so cute. Not your model. I bet you're really cute IRL." The anonymous Nijisanji English Liver finding this behavior weird and uncomfortable. And upon speaking with one of their friends, Aster seemed to have gone even further with the friend, saying to them, quote, "Your body is so sexy," and expressing how they wanted to fly her out to Japan for inappropriate specific purposes. Another friend of this anonymous liver had been visiting the area around which Aster lives, Aster later becoming upset because this friend did not want to meet up with him. Aster even offering this friend to fly this girl out to Japan, totaling 3 different girls that Aster Arcadia was attempting to fly out to Japan. One of the friends...
It's pretty cringe. It's pretty cringe. Not going to lie. Once again, you know, it's one thing if it's your girlfriend or whatever, right? Which, by the way, okay, let me turn Legal Mindset into a dating channel real quick. So hold on. It's a good clip for this one. Let's do a little.
Long,
If she's not looking at you the way that girl was looking at the long man, you don't need to be putting her on a flight. You want her to look at you like she looks at the long man before you'd even consider that. If she's cringing and running away from you and you're offering to put her on a flight, that just makes it creepy. Then you sound like what might be called a kidnapper or a trafficker or whatever else. You sound creepy as fuck, right? Yes, that's the intro. You didn't know? Oh man, we may have to do another long man session on one of my member streams. You got to have Riz like the long man. If you don't, like, what are you doing? All right, let's continue here.
Of the anonymous Nijisanji liver not wanting to come forward with this information even after talking about all of this with the anonymous Nijisanji liver because she is, quote, a huge fan of Nijisanji and Aster and blames herself for what had occurred. The anonymous liver stating at this point that in their opinion that as a person Aster is very, very manipulative and that he had been taking advantage of his status alongside the fact that a lot of people had been looking up to him, and then remarking that these girls simply did not know how to reply and simply went along with it. This anonymous liver
they went along with it because they're uncomfortable and they don't want to create an uncomfortable work situation. And this is a very common situation when you have somebody who's socially awkward, but they're in a position of seniority and they take advantage of people below them. And you see this a lot, right? You see this a great amount with people that are socially inept or incapable, but they're in a position of power or a position of superiority, and they will push themselves on people, make them uncomfortable, right? Because they don't have any actual charisma or personality or, whatever else, right? And that does happen, and it is bad when that happens. Bro, Aster is a League fan as well. Dude, I don't know. Like, I don't play League, so I don't know what the stereotype is there. But you guys will have to inform me on like what the League stereotype is. And also, thank you for hitting we've hit the goal, guys. We hit the golden goal. So I want to say thank you very much. I really appreciate it. You guys are the best. And despite the fact that whenever I get in these situations, I'm like,
No. Wait.
I reluctantly enjoy it. All right, let's continue.
Continuing to say, I can't see a world in which you invite a random girl that you just met to Japan, and that could mean anything but for actual purposes. This Nijisanji English liver continuing saying that their silence felt that they were letting their friends down, and even blaming themselves at this point during our conversation, stating, I had introduced Aster into our friend group to play games, and this had obviously hurt friends very much, them being really, really big fans, and souring their experience and opinions. This Nijisanji English Live are also stating that Nijisanji English management had not taken any action, saying, quote, we don't want him to retaliate, so we won't want to tell him that you spoke with us. Once again, that admission coming from an anonymous Nijisanji Liver that Nijisanji English management had refused to take any action regarding their own talent, Aster Arcadia. The accusations this Nijisanji English talent bringing to them that Aster had been harassing others even outside of the company. And the Nijisanji English
and that's the biggest risk. So For Niji, the biggest risk is when they can't pressure somebody. So that right there is the biggest risk. So if Aster was harassing people outside of Niji, they can't pressure and control them. If it's other livers, they can literally sue them, take their money, threaten them, bully them. If they're in Japan and they have let's say they're visiting Japan or they're on a visa or whatever else, they can threaten their visa. They can threaten a lot of other things, right? If they are an Niji employee, they have a level of control over them. Where they don't is when they're not working for Niji. So the people that are outside of it, including False himself, who is now put himself out here as a person who is spreading this information, who's passed this information. So he carries some risk, right? Because he's making these claims. We'll talk about that. Let's continue.
Liver seeing this in action on the part of the company being damaging and dangerous to the VTuber sphere itself. This anonymous Nijisanji English Liver also remarking on this screenshot that had made its rounds earlier in the year, saying that they had originally assumed that the images were fake, but upon speaking further with Aster, realizing this is just how he talks, that he is manipulative, aggressive, and that he had sent them a similar.
So let me read this message. Aster said to Scarla, explain why are you even hurt? I said whenever we're in VC, okay? The attention is then shifted to whoever joins. Same process happens when this question is said, how was your guy's day? Someone answered before me and the attention is set on them. Conversation keeps going. I don't want to interrupt. You tell me I'm too silent. Would you rather me constantly make random noises or cut people off to say something? If you're hurt, I told you that you'll probably forget this. I mean, am I wrong? You told me you forgot what was even said last night. What's definitely not making me feel any better is the sheer fact you purposely are ignoring me because you don't know what to say. Scarlett said, Aster, I'm sorry. I'm just overwhelmed by everything. I'm sorry I hurt you. I'm sorry I forgot everything. I'm sorry I'm overwhelmed by... Oh, sorry. I'm just overwhelmed by messages. I don't know what to say to you. That's why I didn't respond right away. I'm not ignoring you. I just don't know what to say. I'm sorry. And then says, Sai, look, my intention isn't to hurt you. Why would I? My intention is to let you know what's been bothering me, which is the whole voice chat VC issue. And the convo, attention centering, and the fact that when I'm mid-sentence, I get cut off because someone joins, then the topic is completely forgotten. But even this is too much for you, then I'll keep my distance in terms of personal feelings. Ask me how my day was or what I'm doing, how I'm feeling. Keep it short and sweet, and then not elaborate any further, or I'll just keep to myself. And then she responds, I'm sorry. I understand. I'm sorry. I wish I knew how to act better in VC to make you feel included. I care about you and still want you to tell me things. Interesting. Okay, so very interesting back and forth there with Scarla and Aster.
Message. That message being seen here, being forwarded from the Nijisanji English Liver to us here at TVS. Aster saying to the anonymous Liver, this S is extremely unacceptable and actually makes me want to avoid even doing anything with you if I'm being honest. Asking the Liver, can something improve here, or is this going to be a continued issue? The Nijisanji English Liver.
It sounds like Aster was complaining about being harassed, or making it seem like he was the one being harassed. Interesting.
Then apologizing to Aster, much in the same way that had occurred before between Scarlett and Aster. Aster then following that up, saying, it's fine now since you understand and apologize, and I know you would never intentionally hurt me. So once again, in review, Aster Arcadia now being accused by multiple Nijisanji English Livers of inappropriate behavior both within and outside the company. That is now over the past week, and numerous individuals have been expecting Nijisanji English to take some form of public action to reprimand Aster Arcadia in some fashion. And that is all for this short but highly...
Okay, so that was the good video, and that was a great one for False. Check that out on his channel. But that was the core of the accusations, right? And then, of course, you got the other day here a comment from Nijisanji, and this is the part I really want to focus on. And that is this comment right to here, which is from Nijisanji En, a black message from the Braku company. Thank you for your continued support of Nijisanji En. Regarding the recent controversy, so this is obviously in response to the False video, clearly, and it's got 3 million views. Any color has determined the following course of action. We have initiated an independent third-party investigation into these issues and will share the outcome with our livers and community. Okay. I am really suspect because I have been, look, and all of these companies can say, oh yeah, we're independent, we're third party. I'm going to tell you right now, the third party investigation, 95% of the time is not to do an independent investigation, is to clean up their house and figure out who to point blame on and say that they're not to blame. 95% of them. There are 5% of people that do it right and and actually get a third party that's going to be truly independent. It's going to point the finger. That does happen sometimes, but a lot of times they pay these people a lot of money to clean up their garbage and to point the fingers at people. So they're hiring these people to figure out who they need to go after, not how to fix their company. Because if they actually admit they to fix their company and there's a problem, that will massively tank them at a point in which they're already tanking. Their stock has already taken a hit. They're already on the ropes. Their PR is horrible. So now they're hiring people to say, how do we save our face? How do we save the PR? That's the most likely scenario. Yes, there is this magical path, this little slim ray of light through the dark forest. There's a slim possibility they could have a come to Jesus and change. Yes, it is possible. But I don't want to make a possibility into a probability. And by the way, this isn't just Niji. This is most corporations. Somebody actually commented when I was like talking about this or responding to this. They said, hey, Andrew, if you represented Niji, you would be trying to go after people too. I'm like, well, if I was working in that industry and I had sold my soul and I was working for Nijisanji, which they couldn't even pay me enough money, so I wouldn't work for them. But yeah, of course, if you have a client, you advocate for your client, you try to work for your client. Of course, that's what all lawyers are paid to do, right? That's why I don't work for any company like that, right? I tend to only represent individuals and small businesses, really, and then do some contract work for larger companies. But, at this point, I don't represent people like that because I don't want to be forced to do shit like that. It's just absolutely, it's horrible to be the lawyer that has to come up with the defense of Nijisanji, right? It's horrible. Or any other big corporation that's doing bullshit. So here you go. This is a line that I love. This investigation will focus on the issues of sexual harassment. And now this is very important, guys, because remember, whenever there's an and statement, the most important thing in an and statement is what's after the and. So if I said we're going to get pizza and liver, you're going to remember the liver, right? If I say, you're a really nice guy, but you're ugly as fuck, you're not going to remember that you're a nice guy. You're going to remember what the and ugly as fuck. You're going to remember the ugly as fuck part, right? Like you remember the and. So that after the and, I always pay attention to that. So focus on sexual and unauthorized information leakage to outside parties. This is the important part. This is what they're going to focus on. Unauthorized information leaks to outside parties. That means they're going to go after the folks that leaked. They're going to go after the leakers. The fact they use the word leak, that means they want to punish these people. You would not even mention this. So what I imagine is they're currently investigating, if not already taking action against the leakers, against the people distributing it, and will include a thorough review. Based on the outcome, appropriate disciplinary actions will be taken and updated policies will be shared. They're committed to a safe and community-focused environment free of any type of inappropriate behavior. I think we could see actions taken against the people that leaked for sure, without a doubt. I would be really shocked if there's something that comes down against Aster. I'd be pretty shocked. So I think this is more of going to be a find the rat than anything else. And I know that a lot of other people have commented on it and whatever else, but to be honest, the only thing that would really break this story and really bring a justice that would come down is, frankly, if the liver is willing to go public. So the only way this is something that would break containment is if that person is willing to speak on it and publicly, not privately to false, because frankly, that's not going to do enough. If they're willing to say, nope, I'm going public on this. I'm saying, hey, this is something that's a huge problem. I've been facing it. This is who I am. Right. And I think they would get an outcry of support. I think they'd be loved and supported and all that. But it's going to be hard to push them when they've got this course of action to punish leakage, to punish dissenters. So unless those leakers are willing to speak up and actually really whistleblow, it's going to be really tough. It's going to be really tough to see something good happen. And what I think will happen is those people inside will get the consequences. I also think I wouldn't be surprised if they try a cease and desist against False, or they try to like go for his content at some point after the investigation. Now, if they try to sue him, I think that'd be difficult. Just like suing anybody who's stateside or in North America, like Rima, our favorite horse girl, right? By the way, shout out to Rima. Where's my horse clip? It's been a while. Hold on. We got to ride out with the horse girls mentioned. So
thank you very much for all of your lovely art as well. Some of it a little lewd. To those of you drawing me with horses, y'all are into some fucked up shit, and I hope you get the help you need. I really.
Nice intro there. But anyways, trying to sue somebody stateside or who's in a different country is very difficult, right? I mean, it'd be difficult for them to try to sue me, for example. Are they going to sue me in the U.S.? Are they going to sue me in Thailand, Korea? How are they going to sue me? But point of the matter is, it would be very difficult for them to do that. So I don't believe that they actually will pull the trigger on it. I think they're going to do a lot of barking about that, but I don't think they're actually going to pull the trigger on any of the commenters, any of the people that talk about the story and False for leaking it. I don't think so. They might try to do some content strikes. Maybe that's possible. They might be able to try to attack the content, attack the platform, but they wouldn't try to do an open lawsuit. I don't think that's the strategy. I think they try to clamp down on the leakers. They try to punish the leakers because they can withhold money. They can withhold funds from them. If they haven't graduated, that's a big deal because then they still have money to hang over their head. That's a big deal. So yeah, Rima is Canadian. Yes, she's Canadian. But I mean, Canada is going to be the 51st state. I don't know if you guys heard that. I don't know if you guys knew that. It's going to be the 51st state. So real quick, let me get the rest of these, the rest of this gold. Crusader Lugosi says, I don't like Niji, but I feel like I'm going insane. Haven't we seen many false sexual harassment accusations of the last decade? Why are we blindly believing this anonymous lifer? Crusader, and I'll say this to be fair. What did I say? So here's what I said, Crusader. I said, if they're true. If they're true. If they're not true, then yeah, they're in a world of shit. If they're lying about them, yes, then those people will be hit with defamation, right? If they are lying about it. Now, I like to believe, because I do have some experience with with False and the stuff he has. He generally has backup. He generally has sources. He generally does good work. So I would like to believe that he still did good work backing it up. But I agree with you. I am not one to ride down the train of 100% believing every accusation. I do not believe every accusation. In fact, on this channel, you've seen me cover many false accusations. In fact, I covered a Harvard student that was falsely accused, Mr. Khan, who was falsely accused. I am absolutely not. This is an era where, yeah, there are Amber Heard type figures out there. You have to sort through and figure out who they are, what they are, right? So understand that if you go out there and say something in this era that's false, you will also be punished. And I am strongly against false accusations as well. So I will give you zero quarter or sympathy for making a false accusation. I think that in many ways is more vile, because a false accusation, if you make a false accusation, you're actually not just lying, you're hurting real victims. So let me make that clear. So if I make a false racial claim, I say somebody is targeting me based on my race, and it's fake, like Jussie Smollett, right? Juicy Smooth. If I make a fake claim, then that damages everybody that might have a real claim. It hurts everybody else. Yeah, Saif Khan, yeah, Saifullah Khan, yeah. He got falsely accused, and he proved it in court. And there was a major repercussions for the school and for the person that falsely accused him, right? So I am against that. I'm against that, to be honest. And I am for vetting information, for sure. So yeah, I appreciate that. Bay had a poly recently, was told that hentai and air equals federal crime. Manga characters usually high school age. Is this true? Looked up 18 USC 1466 classified. I've done an entire episode on this. It is a very complicated question. Generally, it's going to be most things because the characters are not underage, so it's not a problem. But if we start with underage characters in the U.S., it's a gray area. There's certain areas where if it's a fictitious character, it's been okay, certain where it hasn't. The case law is divided on it. Like, and we talked about the Simpsons case, right? There's a very famous Simpsons case, and it was about the kids from the Simpsons, and there were erotic photos of them, and people got in trouble for that in some states, and people didn't in others. Literally. So that one was very difficult to parse in between. Real quick, we got a base gifter, Triple J 26. Thank you. Yes. Thank you for the gifts. If you received a gift, please say thank you to Triple J 26. Thank you, Triple J. Jackson, member for 9 months, says Niji scandal at the beginning and end of the year. I know. Kalberg asked earlier, does Japan have whistleblower protection? We pulled those up, and they are, yes, they have them, but they're going to be difficult to apply here. Ryobi said, can we get a Fauna disgusting clip? Absolutely. I'm happy to give you some Fauna.
Disgusting.
Inori Yuzahira says, just imagine your Oshi VTuber told you I can't do a subathon because I'm an employee of an agent and have regulated work hours. That's hilarious. That would be true, though. Inori, that would be true. Because they work so many hours, they would be getting overtime. They'd say, hey, you have to pay me overtime to do this subathon. It'd be hilarious. Crusader said, have $2 for being mega base. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Hello, Beso Department.
People can't handle it. I am too base for some people, but also I will say one thing I do agree with is look, I do try to be as objective about the law as possible, and I do try to be, and I have tried to be very non-partisan about it. Just this is the law, this is the way it is. People can like that or not like that. When it comes up involving the illegality or legality of manga or hentai or whatever else it is, it's like, yeah, that depends on which country you're in, and it's a case-by-case basis. So show me the country, show me the place. Maybe I have to call up a lawyer in that country. If it's in Australia, I have to call up an Aussie lawyer, I have to call up somebody else, but I'll figure it out, and then I'll say, okay, that is legal or illegal. But I don't just run around and saying all X is illegal, because that's not true. Right, it's not true. Somebody in the chat asked me to review the Quinn video. So Quinn made some comments, but to be honest, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Quinn Bennett, who is the former Nijisanji liver. I'm going to, how can I say this very carefully? Actually, fuck it. You know what? We're doing it live. I think he was drama farming, to be completely honest. I reviewed his video. He had nothing of legal substance to say. And actually, he went out and, like an absolute coward, said that this is not to accuse him of doing anything criminal or doing anything wrong. And so I don't think Quinn had anything to add to that. So I don't feel the need to go through his 15 minutes of his video that doesn't actually say that Nijisanji did anything legally wrong, that they're responsible at all. So he was just essentially trying to drama farm it, saying, well, there's a reason why I didn't podcast with him. Okay, who cares about your stupid podcast, right? The point of the matter is there's now allegations of misconduct in the workplace. Are you confirming that or not? And if you're not willing to confirm that, then shut up and go away. You're just trying to farm this because it comes up in the algorithm and people just want to farm it by adding an edgy comment, right? So it's a nothing burger. There's nothing there legally. Now, in the drama world there is, because he can create a bunch of drama about it, but it's not anything of legal consequence. Yeah, it's the unreliable narrator who said that. Hi, Guy Nikki. Yeah, that's very true. It's an unreliable narrator. So I wouldn't believe that even if there was something there. But that said, it would need to be a legal statement. I would need him to come on the record and say, yep, legally they did something, or they did something that should be criminal, or it looks like XYZ, or it is harassment, right? If he's not willing to say that, then what are we doing? What are we doing? Yeah. All right. So thank you. Let's see. King Lugia said she should look at you like Bao looked at the Blade or Von Lycan. I remember that. Oh God. That clip, like the Bao thirst was just too much. Was just too much. It was just like, yeah, it just needs to be that level of thirst. I had the clip before, but I'd have to find it again. Artemis says he's a Nijisanji liver, so broke as hell. How is he going to be flying anyone out in 2% money? Yeah, I know it's a really crappy promise. But remember, guys, this is a fun fact. Never underestimate how hard people will go and the lengths they will go into poverty and debt to try to get laid. Right? Now, the thirst is real. I mean, Bao proves this, right? The thirst is real. People will go to a extreme for thirst. So he'd be willing to go out and take out a Yakuza loan on his 2% merch sales in order to fly somebody out. Just for a shot. Just for a 1 in a million chance. You know, I'm like, dude, there's no way in a million, out of a million, there's no way. Maybe 1 billion. So you're saying there's a chance. Chaos Smash. The Riz and NTR, the long man. Exactly. It's unparalleled. Shannon the Red for 99 says, AEIOU. Alles Erdreich ist Österreich Untanen. Was Austria ist Imperia Orbi Universa. 10th super chat. Let's go! Appreciate that. Yeah, appreciate that. Scientific Fanfic gifted 5 Legal Minds memberships. Thank you so much. And then Jackson with another 5. Thank you so much, Jackson. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate the super chats. Ray RB said Niji would very much silence false to the DMCA. That's what I think is most likely. Most likely is trying to hit him with a DMCA or trying to hit him with some sort of privacy complaint or some sort of other legal complaint to his channel. I don't think they'd sue him because it's more efficient just to try to attack his content. If they attack the Horse Girl Remo, we attack the Niji Poachers. Clap, clap. Yeah, it would be no, listen, if they came like full on at people, that would be a war, and they are not prepared for that war. They're not prepared for that. Jackson also said Niji having one last scandal at the end of the year is rather insane. Any normal company would have folded by now. I know. JV said, what if fellow livers are protecting her? Would company A dare punish multiple people? Yes. Niji? Yeah. Are you kidding me? Nijisanji is willing to sacrifice dozens of people, I would imagine, because of their model. Their model is to burn people out. Nijisanji would absolutely sacrifice a half dozen or dozen people just to prove a point for the safe face. Absolutely. No way. They wouldn't. Hound of Ill Omens for 10 says, hey, speaking of censorship, I heard U.S. senators threatening Steam to censor itself or face consequences. I know nothing about that. I'll have to look at it. And look, what one senator says doesn't really matter. Do they have the majority vote to get it in? And I don't know whether that's the case. So especially if one senator in what is now a lame duck session, because until we get the new folks coming in next year, really nothing of significance is going to happen stateside. Well, on the legislative side. On the executive side, anything can happen, right? I mean, shit. A lot of crazy stuff is still happening in this last couple months of of what's going on there politically. But that said, it's not a politics channel. I'm talking about the law. The law takes a long time to be passed. It also takes a lot of people to pass it. So I wouldn't worry about Steam being censored in the next day or 2 days or month or 2 months. It's probably not even high up there on the priority list. And I don't know who would be the one to do that and how many votes they would have. Probably not enough. Probably not enough. All right. Where can I find your video on the 14668? Wait, what the fuck? Let me see. Obscene. Yeah. On the obscene visual representations, 18 U.S. code. It's historical. I'd have to look it up, but I've talked about is it legal or is it not? All the analysis there. I did a whole video on that. Probably even Danielle could probably tell you which one it was, but I'm not going to make her search right now. But tell you what, if you DM me or email me, andrewesquirelive@gmail.com, I'll get you that link to the video or the clip. Because I've definitely done a stream on that. 100%. Oh, yeah, part of Taiga. There you go. Starkiller got it. See, you guys know, chat knows me better than anything else. It was part of my Taiga stream. So just look up my Taiga stream. U.S. Senator Mark Warner sent a letter to Valve CEO Gabe Newell asking if the company intends to take measures to curtail extremist content on Steam. Okay, but what content is he talking about specifically? Now, one thing they do have to do, Sky, is they do have to, if it's terrorist content, then yeah, or if they're funding banned groups, then yes. So if it's an issue with funding, then yeah. But for example, if Hassan Piker's Houthi bros were being funded by a game on Steam, then yeah, that would be a problem. That's actually funding terrorism. That's actually a international violation, right? So it depends on what extremist content is. Now, if they're saying extremist content is just adult content, that's different. That's probably not true. You're allowed to have adult content as long as you screen for it. So, yeah. People say Hitler stuff. Well, there's nothing illegal. I know this is crazy, but there's nothing illegal about World War II stuff in general. So as long as you're not going into deep exploitation stuff, I mean, I don't know what's going on now. Well, the thing with Hassan Piker's on here. No, he brought on a Houthi terrorist to his stream. And for example, that's when I mentioned if you're funding terrorists or terrorist organizations, that can actually end up as a violation of federal law because you're sending money to a terrorist or known terrorist or terrorist organization, right? That is an actual restraint, right? History channels get demonetized. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Yeah. But anyways, that was a weird rabbit hole. Why do you guys get me going down these rabbit holes? Why is that whenever I end up with you guys, I end up going down these rabbit holes? And I really should be thinking, no, don't do it. But I do it anyways. All right. Let's see. Oh, and Crusader says another 2 for Megabase. Thank you. Tatsumi says Niji's made one of their past livers to fake having a dad. Her dad passed away, not surprisingly, by the current Niji drama. Is that true? If so, that is so fucked up. That is super fucked up. I mean, my dad passed away as well. That is just, I mean, to think that someone would try to force you to have, that's so fucked up. If that's true, that's beyond wrong. That's beyond wrong. That's disgusting. That to me disgusts me. All right. Andrew wants to go down the Pecco Mom hole instead. I think you know what. I think you know what clip is coming here.
Not a sin. I cannot absolve you. Mega-based.
Raisin Lover, lover of Yumu. Raisin Lover of Yumu says, the best tale is down the rabbit hole, all fluffy. Thank you for that. Thank you. All right. So I think that is it for for now. Wait, hold on. Shane of the Reds got, by the way, Phoenix SC might be willing to collab with you if you ask. The Mahjong lawsuit seems right up your alley. Yeah, I think people have asked me about that one. I have to look at that. Mojang. I have to look at that one and check it out. Also, of course, I've got the Smash JT stuff, which I've been asked. I'm being like harassed to talk about that by multiple people. So I am going to do that. So that's one coming up, and then we got a big one for the cabbages on Hank. That should be really fun as well because there's some interesting DMs that are going to be exposed. Get Zerg says, look up Sunny Explosion. Fake dad Rainbow retires as a clip. Oh man, that's so fucked up. That's so fucked up. Okay, well, on the way out, I think we need some cleansing. I think the world needs some healing, and so why don't we do this? Let's end with some Pecco Mama, okay? So guys, thank you so much. I will see you on the next stream. Until then, take care, do the best, and enjoy yourselves.